Ladies and gentlemen, let me talk to you today from the heart. As we step into 2026, I want you to hear this clearly. Focus on yourself and learn how to stay silent. I didn't say be weak. I didn't say be afraid. I said be quiet about your moves and serious about your growth. Some of the biggest breakthrough in your life are going to happen when nobody knows what you're doing, but you and God see too many people announce their plans before they build the discipline to finish them. You tell everybody what you're about to do, and now you've invited opinions, doubt, jealousy, and distractions into something that was supposed to be sacred. In 2026, stop explaining yourself to people who don't fund your dreams, don't fuel your faith, and don't support your vision. You don't owe everybody an explanation. Sometimes silence is your protection. Focusing on yourself doesn't mean you're selfish. It means you finally understand your assignment. You've spent years pouring into people who wouldn't pour back into you. You've clapped for people who wouldn't even show up when it was your turn. Now it's time to redirect that energy inward. Heal yourself, discipline yourself, upgrade your mindset, because the truth is nobody is coming to save you. You have to save you. Let me tell you something about silence. Silence confuses your enemies and sharpens your purpose. When you stop talking, you start listening. When you stop explaining, you start executing. When you stop seeking validation, you start building confidence. Some of the people watching you don't want to see you win. They just want to know your next move so they can prepare their doubt. They'll give them that advantage in 2026. Let your consistency speak. Let your crow speak. You don't need to post every lesson, every struggle, every step. Some seasons are meant to be private so you can become who you're supposed to be. Trees grow in silence. Diamonds are formed under pressure. If you stay focused long enough, people will be shocked by what you become overnight, not knowing it took you years. Focus requires sacrifice. You're going to have to say no to distractions, no to unnecessary conversations, and no to people who only show up when they need something. You can't keep entertaining everything and expect to become something. Discipline is choosing what you want most over what you want now. And in 2026, what you should want, why everyone doesn't need your plans most, is peace, progress, and purpose. Staying silent also means not reacting to everything. Every comment doesn't deserve a response. Every opinion doesn't deserve your energy. Sometimes the strongest move you can make is to walk away and keep working when you know who you are and where you're going. You don't need to argue. You just need to move. So I challenge you this year, lock in, wake up earlier, pray harder, work smarter yourself, correct yourself of yourself. And while everybody else is busy talking and complaining and comparing, you be busy becoming focused on yourself and stay silent in 2026, because the next version of you doesn't need approval. It needs commitment. Ladies and gentlemen, focusing on personal growth instead of explaining your plans to others is one of the hardest but most powerful decisions you will ever make. See, a lot of people don't fail because they lack talent or opportunity. They fail because they talk too much and build too little. They spend more time telling people what they're going to do than actually doing it. And every time you open your mouth about a dream that hasn't been built yet, you expose it to doubt, criticism, and distraction. Not everybody who listens to you is rooting for you, and not everybody who claps for you believes in you. When you focus on yourself, you stop looking for permission. You stop waiting for applause. You stop needing somebody to agree with your vision before you move. Some visions were given to you alone because you're the only one strong enough to carry them. If God showed everybody what he showed you, it wouldn't be special. That dream didn't come to your group chat. It came to your spirit. And when you understand that, you become more protective of it. Explaining your plans too early can kill your momentum. The moment you tell people what you're about to do, they start projecting their fears onto your future. They remind you of who you used to be, where you come from, and what didn't work last time. They don't mean harm all the time, but their words plant seeds of hesitation. Now you're sick and guessing yourself, not because you're incapable, but because you listen to somebody who never walked your path. Focusing on yourself means putting your head down and doing the work even when nobody sees it. It's waking up early when nobody is cheering. It's studying, practicing, failing, and trying again without an audience. Most people want the spotlight without the preparation. They want the reward without the discipline. They want the reward without the discipline. But real growth happens in private. That's where habits are formed, confidence is built, and character is tested. When you stop explaining yourself, you gain clarity. You stop adjusting your goals to fit other people's comfort zones. You stop shrinking your dreams so they don't intimidate small minds. You realize that not everyone means to understand your journey because they're not going where you're going. And that's okay. Your responsibility is not to convince people. Your responsibility is to commit. Focusing on yourself also means learning how to say no without guilt, no to distractions, no to conversations that lead nowhere, no to people who drain you instead of develop you. Every yes you give to that, the power of focusing on yourself. Wrong thing is a no to your future. Time is the most expensive currency you have. And once you wasted explaining yourself to the wrong people, you never get it back. As you grow, you'll notice something powerful the less you talk. The more people watch, silence creates curiosity, consistency creates respect, and results create credibility. One day, people will ask how you did it, and the truth is you did it by minding your business and focusing on yourself. You didn't argue, didn't compete, didn't complain, you worked. So understand this, you don't need to announce your next move. You don't need to justify your decisions, and you don't need approval to evolve. Focus on yourself. Protect your vision and let your growth introduce you when the time is right. Ladies and gentlemen, silence is not weakness. Silence is strategy. Learning to stay silent while you're building your life is one of the greatest skills you can develop. Too many people think power comes from being loud, from responding to everything, from defending themselves at every turn. But real power is knowing when not to speak. In 2026, if you want peace and progress, you have to master the discipline of silence. When you react to every comment, every rumor, every opinion, you give away your energy, and energy is currency. You only have so much of it each day, and you can't afford to spend it arguing with people who don't matter, with people who don't matter. Some folks are not looking for understanding. They're looking for attention. The moment you respond, you've given them exactly what they wanted. Silence, on the other hand, starves distractions and keeps you focused on your purpose. Staying silent doesn't mean you don't feel anything. It means you decided not to let your emotions control your actions. There will be times when you are misunderstood, misjudged, and even talked about unfair. Your first instinct will be to explain, to correct the story, to defend your name. But let me tell you something. People who are committed to misunderstanding, you will never accept your explanation. So why exhaust yourself trying? Silence also gives you clarity. When you're not constantly talking, you start thinking, you start observing. You start learning people's true intentions. You notice who supports you quietly and who only shows up to be seen. Silence sharpens your discernment. It allows you to move with wisdom instead of impulse. It allows you to move with wisdom instead of impulse. And wisdom will take you places talent alone never could. One of the hardest forms of silence is not responding to disrespect. Not every battle deserves your participation. Some fights are designed to pull you to a level where you don't belong. When you stay silent, you rise above the noise. You let your character speak for you. You let your consistency defend you. And over time, the truth always shows up without you having to shout it. Staying silent also protects your peace. Peace is expensive. And once you get it, you have to guard it. Drama, negativity, and gossip are distractions disguised as entertainment. They keep you busy but never better. In silence, you create space to heal, to grow, and to strengthen your relationship with God. You can't hear divine direction when your life is full of noise. As you practice silence, you'll notice that people begin to treat you differently. They may not understand you, but they'll respect you. Silence. Stop explaining your vision creates influence. When you don't react, people don't know how to control you. When you don't explain, people can manipulate you. That's power. In 2026, let your silence be louder than your words. Let your focus be stronger than your emotions. Use silence to build discipline, protect your energy, and move with intention while and proving you'll be quietly positioned proving you'll be quietly positioning yourself for the life you've been praying for. Ladies and gentlemen, seeking validation is one of the quietest traps that keeps people stuck. You don't even realize it at first. You just want encouragement. You just wanted someone to believe in you. But after a while, you start needing approval before you move, praise before you continue, and recognition before you commit. And the moment you start depending on outside validation, you hand your power to people who don't even know where you're trying to go. The truth is, most people won't clap for you at the beginning. They clap when the results show up. They celebrate when the work is finished. But the journey, the struggle, the late nights, the sacrifices, those parts are yours alone. If you wait for validation before you start, you'll never start. If you wait for a pause before you finish, you'll quit halfway. You have to learn how to believe in yourself when nobody else does. When you stop seeking validation, you become more consistent. You stop working only when people are watching. You stop posting for approval and start producing for purpose. You don't need to announce every achievement or complain about every obstacle. You understand that growth doesn't need an audience. It needs commitment. Some of the strongest people you'll ever meet are the ones who learned how to encourage themselves. External validation is unstable. One day people love you, the next day they doubt you, one day they support you, the next day they criticize you. If your confidence is built on their opinions, your confidence will always be shaky. But when your confidence comes from discipline, from faith, and from keeping promises to yourself, it becomes unbreakable. Nobody can take that from you. Consistency is born in solitude. It's built when nobody is checking on you. Wow, and nobody is reminding you when nobody's congratulating you. When nobody's congratulating you, it's choosing to show up even when the motivation is gone. It's doing the right thing even when nobody will ever know. And that kind of consistency changes your life, not overnight, but permanently. When you stop chasing validation, you also stop comparing yourself to others. Comparison is the thief of joy, and it thrives on attention. You stop measuring your progress against someone else's highlight reel and forget how far you've come. But when you focus on your own lane, you realize your journey is unique. Your timing is different. Your purpose is specific, and there's no competition where there's assignment. Another powerful thing happens when you let go of validation. You gain peace. You're no longer anxious about being liked. You're no longer stressed about being accepted. You understand that being respected is more important than being popular, and respect is earned through integrity, not attention. Become comfortable with discipline over motivation, being misunderstood because you know who you are and what you're building. So remember this, applause is temporary, but discipline is permanent. Likes fade, comments disappear. Opinions change, but the work you put in every day compounds. When you stop looking outside for confirmation and start looking within for commitment, your life begins to shift. You don't need everyone to believe in you. You just need to stay consistent with the vision that was placed inside you. Ladies and gentlemen, discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you're trying to go. And that bridge is built with sacrifice. A lot of people say they want a better life, but very few are willing to give up the habits, comforts, and distractions that are holding them back. You cannot keep everything and still become everything you're capable of being in 2026. If you want real change, you're going to have to make some hard choices. Every distraction costs you something. It costs you time, focus, and energy. And most distractions don't look dangerous at first. They look like harmless conversations, unnecessary scrolling, late nights with no purpose, and commitments you don't really want. but don't know how to say no to. Little by little, these things steal your future. Future discipline is having the courage to remove what feels good but leads now where sacrifice means choosing long-term growth over short-term pleasure. It means going to bed early while others stay out late. It means working on yourself while others are being entertained. It means investing in your mind when nobody is forcing you to. And let me tell you something, people will call you boring before they call you successful. They won't understand why you change until they see what you become. One of the greatest acts of discipline is learning how to say no. No without explanation, no without that guilt, no without fear of losing people. Not everyone who walks away was meant to walk with you. Some people are only in your life to test your boundaries. When you stop saying yes to everything, you start making room for what truly matters. Your future requires space. Discipline also means doing the uncomfortable work of self-correction, is being honest with yourself about your weaknesses, your excuses, and your patterns. Growth doesn't begin with blaming others. It begins with accountability. When you take responsibility for your life, you take back your power. You stop waiting for motivation and start relying on habits. Motivation comes and goes, but discipline stays. Sacrifice will sometimes make you feel lonely. There will be moments when you feel like you're missing out, when it seems like everyone else is enjoying life while you're grinding in silence, but understand this, you're missing out. You're investing. What you give up now will pay you back later. Facing temporary discomfort leads to permanent improvement. As you become more disciplined, your confidence will grow, not because people are praising you, but because you trust yourself. You know that when you say you're going to do something, you'll follow through. That kind of self-trust is priceless. It changes how you walk, how you speak, and how you make decisions. Discipline doesn't just change your schedule, it changes your identity. So remember, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your discipline. If you want a life that looks different, then you have to live differently. Sacrifice today so tomorrow doesn't look like yesterday, so tomorrow doesn't look like yesterday. Ladies and gentlemen, reacting to everything will drain. The silence builds strength. Life right out of you. Every comment, every opinion, every bit of negativity does not deserve your attention or your response. One of the strongest signs of maturity is learning how to control your reactions. In 2026, if you want growth, peace, and focus, you must master the ability to pause instead of react. Most people react emotionally and then spend hours dealing with the consequences of a moment they could have avoided. A single response made in anger can undo months of progress. A single argument can steal your peace for days. When you react without thinking, you let other people control your mood, your energy, and your direction. That is too much power to give away. Choosing not to react doesn't mean you agree. It means you understand what matters and what doesn't. Some people will test you just to see if they can get a response. They poke, they provoke, they criticize, and they watch closely. The moment you react, they win. Silence, calm, and restraint are signs that you are no longer easily accessible to chaos. When you stop reacting, you start responding with wisdom. You give yourself time to think, to pray, to reflect. You move from emotion to intention. That pause, that moment of silence is where growth happens. It's where you separate who you are becoming from who you used to be. Old habits react, new discipline responds. Not every situation requires your explanation. Not every lie needs your correction. Not every insult needs your defense. People who are determined to misunderstand you will twist your words no matter how carefully you explain yourself. So instead of wasting energy, let time and consistency tell the truth for you. Time exposes everything without you having to say a word. When you learn not to react, you protect your peace. Peace is not passive. Peace is powerful. It allows you to think clearly, work efficiently, and make better decisions. You cannot build a future when your mind is constantly disturbed by unnecessary noise. Calm people think further. Focused people go farther. There will be moments when silence feels uncomfortable, when you feel like you're losing by not responding. But trust me, you're not losing, you're rising. You're rising, you're choosing growth over ego. You're choosing progress over pride. And that choice will change your life. The strongest people are not those who speak the loudest, but those you can remain calm under pressure. As you grow, people will notice that they can no longer pull you into drama. They realize that their words no longer control you. Some will respect you more. Others will feel uncomfortable around you. And that's okay. Change is your frequency, and not everyone can operate at the same level of peace. So remember this: your future does your focus, not your reactions. Protect your energy, guard your peace, and move with intention, not emotion. Ladies and gentlemen, commitment to prepare yourself for 2026 yourself is the foundation of every lasting success you will ever experience. Before anyone else believes in you, before anyone supports you, before anyone applauds you, you must commit to yourself. Too many people break promises to themselves and then wonder why they struggle with confidence and direction. Self-trust is built when you do what you said you would do, especially when it's hard. Commitment to yourself means showing up even when motivation disappears. Motivation is emotional, and emotion change. Some days you'll feel inspired, and some days you won't feel like doing anything at all. Commitment is what carries you through those low moments. It's choosing to keep going when quitting feels easier. It's understanding that discipline is an act of self-respect. When you commit to yourself, you stop negotiating with your excuses. You stop waiting for the perfect time, the perfect mood, or the perfect conditions. You realize that progress is made by imperfect action taken consistently. Every time you push through resistance, you strengthen your character. Every small promise you keep becomes evidence that you can trust yourself. Self-commitment also requires honesty. You can have to be willing to look at your life and admit where you've been falling short. Not to judge yourself, but to correct yourself. Growth begins with awareness. You cannot change what you refuse to acknowledge. When you take responsibility for your future, there will be times when committing to yourself means disappointing others. Would be times when committing to yourself means disappointing others. You won't always be available. You won't always say yes. You won't always explain your decisions. And that's okay. You cannot keep sacrificing your future to protect other people's comfort. The people who truly care about you will understand your boundaries. The ones who don't were benefiting from your lack of them. Committing to yourself also means forgiving yourself. You are going to make mistakes. You are going to stumble. You're going to have days when you fall back into old habits. But commitment is not perfection, it's persistence. Don't quit on yourself because you had a bad day or bad week. Learn from it and keep moving forward. As you stay committed, something powerful begins to happen. Your confidence grows quietly, not because people are praising you, but because you know you become independable to yourself. You no longer need constant encouragement because your actions remind you of who you are. Becoming that inner confidence is unshackable. So understand this: nobody is coming to rescue you. Nobody is going to live your life for you. The moment you fully commit to yourself is the moment your life begins to change. Show up, stay consistent, and keep going even when it's silent and nobody is watching.